Oh my goodness, you guys. Okay, I'm here. Wow, what a morning that I have had so far. I'm actually thinking about pushing our time back from 9 to 9:15 just because this is the second week in a row that we're meeting a little bit later than I expected or anticipated. Okay, so I'm just trying to breathe here because this morning, okay, my computer, it's cloudy outside. Okay, so I wanted to get my computer up and turn my ring light on so that you could see me in my house, and that wasn't working because my computer was basically dead and I could not find my charging cord anywhere. So there was that, and my notes and everything was also on my computer, to help me stay on track in this conversation today. So it's just been a little bit of a mess, but we're here. I also don't have coffee this morning. I'm doing some tea, so I'm letting that kind of steep for a second so I can enjoy some tea with you guys. So grab yourself something to drink, snuggle up for a couple of minutes, and we're going to talk about overthinking, which today honestly is the perfect example of overthinking because I began to start asking myself, like, maybe I should just postpone it till later this evening so that I can find my charger, get my computer charged up, and all the things, right? So let me just tell you guys, I wasn't allowing myself to overthink this morning. I was like, you know what? This is the perfect God example of everything. So we're gonna go with the flow and we're gonna make it happen. So I'm here. So good morning to you if you're joining this morning. If you watch the replay later, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. So glad that you are spending a moment here with me today. So we're going to talk about overthinking and how it relates to a chainsaw. Very interesting. So let me just grab a sip real quick. All right, so overthinking, you guys, it's a natural part of our lives, okay? We are all guilty of it. We all deal with it on a consistent basis. But too much of it can lead us to doing things like procrastinating, all right? Or just avoiding things altogether. So what is overthinking? Overthinking is basically just a defense mechanism. We're built with it. It's, again, a natural thing that we are dealing with in our life. And what it does for us in a good way is it allows us to use wisdom. It allows us to evaluate things, come up with a plan and make things work the way that they should, right? So overthinking in a small amount or a certain amount is a good thing. God has actually given us the authority over our minds to a point where we're not finding ourselves in a downward spiral of thoughts, right? So he's given us the authority and given us the ways that we can renew our mind in Christ Jesus, right? Because again, overthinking just can lead to a mess of thoughts, right? And again, lead us down a path of procrastination or just not doing the thing. So when we break it down, what is overthinking? If you think about it, it dwells on lack, okay? Like the lack of self-trust, lack of decisiveness, a lack of known purpose, a lack of prioritization. I'm guilty of that one lately, let me tell you guys. What's next? I got to keep reminding myself, what's the next step? Prioritize. Time management, a lack of time management, a lack of confidence, a lack of boundaries, so many things. It's focusing on the lack. What do we not have? Then we begin to overthink. So we're second guessing ourselves, and that leads us down a path of playing it safe and staying small, you guys. But let me ask you a question. When we stay small and we stay stuck in fear and not operating in faith, that nothing comes from that. Like, nothing great comes from the comfort zone. We have to be willing to take a step of faith and, take that leap, take that jump, just do the thing. So I want to read a quote to you that I thought was actually really interesting and why I titled it this way. So it's from a guy named Nick McGaw. And he says, overthinking is like a chainsaw. Okay, let me start this over. Okay, because I stopped too early. Okay, overthinking is like a chainsaw to cut out pictures for a scrapbook. A chainsaw is an awesome tool, but it's not right for the task. So if we think about it, our mind is incredible, you guys. Our brain is incredible. And when we use it, we can do such awesome things with it, right? But there are certain places where that is a right tool to use, overthinking. And there's a place where it's just not, where it's not going to serve you to be in that place of overthinking. So we really need to learn how to have more self-confidence and how to celebrate the small decisions, being more decisive. I struggled really, really hard with small decisions, like where to eat, I would just get so overwhelmed with the options and, also the people pleaser in me just wanting to make everybody else happy too. Like, well, what do you want? I could eat anything. But learning how to celebrate when you make a small decision, even if it's something like deciding where to eat. What does that mean for you? That small decision, celebrate it and say, hey, I did that. It's pretty awesome. I did that. So when we celebrate those small decisions, it helps us to build self-trust. And that way, when the big decisions come up, instead of finding ourselves in a place of overthinking and this spiral of thoughts, we're better equipped to handle the situation, right? So a tip that I want to give you for the times whenever you have those big decisions come up in your life and maybe you're not sure what to do with it, right? Before that overthinking starts kicking in, just ask yourself, where is the 51%? And by that I mean, if you're feeling even in your decision of A and B, where does 51% seem to be pulling you? Where's that tiniest, littlest percentage saying, go this way, walk in this way? And I've noticed that that's helped me tremendously. Go with that decision and just feel confident about it. Even though, trust me, there's always going to be self-doubt. It's always going to be present. And we're most likely going to be unsure about a lot of things, right? And that's natural. So instead of dwelling on the lack or dwelling on the what ifs, well, if I choose this, what if this happens? Make the decision and also decide that you're going to say, even if. So even if this doesn't work out the way that I thought it was going to work out, it's going to be okay. And you know why it's going to be okay? Because God is not surprised by your decision. He already knows everything that's going to happen in our book, He's already planned for it. So the decision that we make is not, it's not going to be the end of the world, okay? So it's safe to make that decision. I want you to feel safe in making decisions and know that He is working it out. He's working it out for your good because you love Him, right? And one thing I want to encourage us all to do is very simple and yet so neglected in our life. And that is pray. Pray. Ask. You have not because you ask not. Ask, seek, find. Confidence doesn't mean that you're going to be sure. You're not going to be sure of yourself all the time. But it is going to help you develop that self-trust, which is a building block of self-confidence. We become more confident when we know that we can trust and believe and have faith. So remember that done beats perfect. Done beats perfect, you guys. Before my tea gets cold. So how many times do we find ourselves identifying, I call it self-identifying, with the wrong things? Like, well, I'm just a perfectionist. Things just have to be perfect. Or, I'm an overthinker naturally. I just overthink everything. If I'm honest with myself when those things come up, if you're honest with yourself, it's honestly just a cute way of avoiding fear. It's just a cute way a cute front that we put up and avoiding the fear and avoiding dealing with some things. You just self-label that I'm a mess, so my life is just messy. And it's cute and funny. But you guys, there's something underneath that, There's fears underneath that. And is it, fear of failure? Is it that you're fearing that you're going to deal with people judging you? That you're going to have to deal with some disappointment, or you're going to be faced with some past beliefs that you've held about yourself, or that people aren't going to like you anymore. I can't be this way. I can't make the decision because somebody's not going to like it. I don't know. What does that look like for you? Start asking yourself that question, because it's time to stop the cycle. It's time to stop. Nothing is set in stone. So there's always a way. There will always be a way. Anyway, one thing I want to encourage all of us to do is, whenever we're finding these thoughts flooding our minds and we're going down this cycle of overthinking, and we really need to make a decision, I want you to take a moment to pause and identify the feeling and where you're feeling it. Start there. So how do you do that? Well, quiet. Get in a place of quiet and ask yourself, so what's coming up for me? Is it fear? So fear is felt in your gut. So when you focus on the feeling and you're like, okay, where am I feeling this? Fear is going to come from your gut. Even if you can't identify it and you're just feeling queasy, or you're feeling something in your stomach, a lump, I don't know, just something going on in your gut, that is associated with fear. If it's grief, I dealt, you guys, with a lot of disappointment with myself, with some decisions that I've made in the past, just going through a lot of things last year, and a lot of grief came up for me, and a lot of disappointment, and you feel that in your chest. You'll feel it in your heart. You'll feel it in your chest, and that's telling you that you're dealing with some grief, that you're dealing with some sadness or disappointment. So there's different feelings that actually you can identify in places of your body, which is really remarkable. But God is a remarkable God. He is just so awesome, the way that He helps us to understand things. I also dealt with a lot of feeling in my throat, and things were coming up for me right here, just in my throat, like a lump in my throat, and just things here. And so that was telling me that fear was coming up as well in my gut, but it was also I wasn't speaking up. I wasn't saying what God was putting on my heart. I was just avoiding things. So anyway, where are those things coming up for you? And associate those with the overthinking. And that will help you crawl out of that ditch, and that will help you to realize what's going on underneath that you need to deal with, so that you can grow. Awesome. So I also have an announcement for you guys. So just last Monday I had talked about wanting to bring back the Confidence Jumpstart, which I did earlier this year. And I was talking to my coach, and she was saying that, here we are approaching the middle of the year. So June is right around the corner. I know it's just now May, but we're coming up on half the year already, you guys. Like, it's just flying by. And so this is a good time for us to reevaluate some of the things that we maybe wanted to accomplish earlier in this year, and maybe we just haven't for whatever reason. And I want to bring back this Confidence Jumpstart next week, Monday through Thursday. And I'm going to pop in live in the group and just give us all this challenge, this daily challenge to help us grow in whatever area that we want to focus on. So this week, I want you to be thinking about where you were at the beginning of this year and where you are now, and maybe where you want to go in the next half of the year. And let's approach this together and just go through this jump start and get us going again. Get us finishing strong for the rest of the year. I know it's been a wild ride so far. There's been a lot of just unpredictable things that have happened just in the past year, and some of us maybe haven't felt very equipped to handle it. But let's approach this from the perspective that God's in control, and He's put things on your heart for a reason. Okay, this is your season. I just want you to know this is your season. You're approaching something great, and there's a reason that things are on your heart, that they're on your mind right now. And even if you haven't done a single thing, let's reevaluate. Let's jumpstart it again. Let's jumpstart the car. Let's get running again. So I'm excited about that. We're gonna have some fun with it next week. And I know, like, just for myself, I've grown a lot. I've grown a lot from a lot of the things that I've learned. And so it just makes me so happy and fills my soul to be able to do something for you, to take what I've learned and help you in an area that maybe you're struggling. So get excited about that. That's going to be awesome. And we're going to do some awesome things in this life, you guys. I just know it. I know that you have greatness in you. I have greatness in me. And I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And we're going to grow. We're going to see some awesome things this year. So with that, be blessed. Start thinking about what you want to work on next week and for the rest of the year. And we'll have fun. So that's all I got for you guys this morning. We'll talk to you again soon. See ya.